Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty, but on today's video, I'm going to use my Glowforge laser and I'm going to engrave a logo into this cutting board. Now my niece has owned her own bakery business for a long time, but now she actually has a storefront. And so I want to make some things for her to decorate her storefront with. So I got this board. I just got this at TJ Maxx. It was $14.99 and it is relatively thin. So in the Glowforge, without taking the crumb tray out or the tray that holds your things, you can use materials up to a 1/2 inch thick. Now you can trick it by removing that crumb tray and putting some wood in there to build it up. But this is 0.47 inches. So I think this is going to work without taking that crumb tray out. Other things I'll use, I have some masking tape. This is a paper-based masking tape, and so I'll engrave through that. It'll keep the rest of the surface clean. I have a little braiding tool just to put that on. I have some scissors. I have a digital caliper. I don't know if I'll need this. I like to use the auto feature, so the auto height feature where it determines where it needs to be. But if I can't get that to work, I do need to have some calipers so I can measure the thickness of this. Now let's go ahead and jump onto the computer so I can show you the design. I'll show you the Glowforge interface and we'll get this ready to engrave. Now before I engrave the front, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bitty heart or something on the back side. Using the settings I think will work. That way, if I need to do something slightly different, I haven't ruined the front. So this is what the Glowforge software looks like when I open it on my computer, and it is web-based. And if you hear background noise, that's because I have my Glowforge on. If it's not on, the camera is not activated and you can't see the bed of the Glowforge. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say create new design, and then I can upload either an SVG, a JPEG, or a PNG. I don't have the premium membership where you pay each month, so I cannot upload a DXF file. For today, I'm using an SVG file. So I'll click on this, I'll find it on my desktop, and then I'll pull it in. Now here's the file, and so I will say upload, and it'll take just a minute for the Glowforge to bring this in, but that really wasn't that long. And then if you're a techie person, you might be wondering, why are those all individual little objects or elements? And I'm wondering that myself. I did not create this logo. I do think it's really, really cute though. It's nice and simple. All right, so that looks like a pretty good size. I want her to have room on the rest of this board to have cookies or cupcakes or something like that. All right, so I want to go right up here and I want to say set focus, and then see this red thing? I'll just put it kind of up here. I want to make sure that I'm not too close to the edge of the board. Now it's saying no artwork. Let me go ahead and select part of the artwork, and then I'm going to say score. By saying score, it's going to go more quickly. Scoring is just a single line, and on this design I think that's going to look great. So I'll click on score, and then for settings I go down here to manual, and I'm going to do a setting of 250 with a power of 70. Now that is selected, so now let's go back up here to set focus, click on it, and let's just go right here. Let's see if this time it says no artwork or if it actually recognizes that it's there. It did recognize that it's there, and I'm going to get this away from the side just a little bit. I think that looks good. All right, so now I'm going to go to the cake. It looks like there's dashes, but when I add settings, that will go away. So I'll click on this layer, and I'm going to say score. I'll go down here to manual, and 250 for the speed and 70 for the power. Now notice here I could have it do more than one pass. I'm going to stick with one. Now they're no longer dashes, and so we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and say print. And it's just going to take 1 minute and 29 seconds. I hope this turns out really nice. That seems super fast. But let's go ahead. We'll go over to the Glowforge, push that magical blue button, and we'll watch it work. All right, let's see how this looks. This masking tape is very low tech. See how it's curled up there? It just kind of wants to come up. So that's why I use the extra painter's tape. And the fact that it is low tech makes it easy to get off your items. Now, when you have really small pieces like this, if you have a plastic scraper and you're really careful not to scratch your item, you can do that. This painter's tape helps quite a bit as well. And then if you need to, you can just kind of rub on them, use your fingernail. Just be really careful again. You don't want to scratch whatever it is that you're engraving on, or you are scoring on, or you're cutting. So it looks like I have a few little pieces over here. All right, let me pick that up and look and see if there's any left. Looks like it's all gone. Now, I do see a little bit of a glare, and I guess it's where when the laser cuts on it, it kind of oozes or bleeds a little bit. And so let me see if I can show you that. As I turn this, do you see a little bit of a glare there? That is from the actual wood. That is not from that masking tape. And so I'm going to try to take that off with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Now, alcohol will dry out wood, so I don't want to do this a lot, but I just want to see if that's going to help take that off. And then a lot of people like to actually oil their chopping mats with a special food grade oil. Okay, so that took that right off. Look how pretty that is. I think she's going to love this. And even though all we did was score that, look how cute that is. That's a lot of detail for just taking, was it 1 minute and something? I think it was just 1 minute and something. So, so cute. So if you have a Glowforge and you're wondering, what am I going to use that for? This is a really quick and easy project. The key to it being quick is to use the score function. Also, remember I told you I was going to do some sample engraves? There they are. Actually, these were sample scores. And so that's kind of how I dialed in what I wanted my settings to be. This is a fairly, I don't know, it seems like a somewhat soft wood. And so your settings don't have to be as high. And you can't assume that a setting on another piece of wood is going to work for this. So I would recommend try to do just a small sample of what you're going to do on the back. Now, I never did use my calipers, so let me show you how you use those. And sometimes, I don't understand why, sometimes my Glowforge forces me to put in the thickness, even though I can still use the auto height feature. Sometimes it just requires me to put in the thickness. Sometimes it doesn't, like today it didn't. But with these, you go ahead and push that red button to turn it on, and it's zeroed out. Now, if there's a number other than 0 with these jaws closed, then you hit this yellow button, and that will take it back to 0. So I'm going to pull these apart, and then I'll squeeze those back together. And at this area, that says 0.49, so it's just under a ½ inch. Where I measured it before said 0.47. But with this being a piece of wood, it's not always going to be exactly the same thickness. Now, if you're interested in buying a Glowforge, I do have a discount code. I'll put it in the video description. If you use that, you can receive up to $500 off, and then I do receive a referral fee as well. Now, thank you so much for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.